want to do a Course in Miracles disclaimer. I am not responsible for your reaction to anything that you hear today. All right, I need to change some stuff in me and push some things through, and unfortunately or fortunately, you happen to be a part of that. So I don't know what's going to happen today. All I know is I want to be used for peace, for some good. So take a breath. Today, I'm going to talk about the guiltless world. Do you know that if you didn't feel guilty, you wouldn't be attacking and going off on people? That's what it said right here on page 236 in chapter 13 in the Course in Miracles text. It says right here, it says, if you didn't feel guilty, you couldn't attack. So if you're angry right now about anything, you feel guilty. I feel guilty. Then it tells us because the root of attack, what makes us attack, is condemnation. So before I could go off on you and attack you, I had to condemn you first. So first I condemn you, then I go off on you. First I condemn the world, then I go off on the world. First I condemn the checkout person, then I go off on the checkout person. Then it says, now, condemnation is the judgment of one man by another man. Condemnation is one man judging another man as unworthy of love. So when I condemn you, I'm saying you're not worthy of love. Nobody should love you. You're the last person on earth anybody should love. That's what I'm saying when I'm condemning you. And the Course in Miracles goes on to say, not only are you doing that, when you're telling somebody, when you're saying that somebody's unworthy of love, the Course is saying you're also saying that they are deserving of punishment. So not only when I condemn you am I saying that you're not worthy of love, I say you need to get your butt kicked. You need to be punished. Then he goes on to tell us, he says, but that's the split. That's where the problem happens. Because the mind that judges sees itself as separate from the mind being judged. The mind that judges sees itself as being different from the mind that is judging. So the person that's judging you, they're seeing themselves as different from you and separate from you. And so the Course says that with the mind that judges perceives itself as separate from the mind being judged, believing that by punishing, in other words, you believe that by punishing somebody else, you're going to escape punishment. In other words, I feel better after I condemn you, attack you, and go off on you. I feel better after I condemn you, attack you, and go off on you. I feel better after I let you know how upset I am with you. I'll feel better when I get you straight. Anybody familiar with that? Everybody look at me like, really? What? People do that? That's the kind of looks I see out there like, really? What? People do that? Damn right they do. You do. I do. We all do. Do what? First I feel guilty, then I attack somebody. Because I'm condemning them and saying that they are not worthy of love and that they deserve to be punished. And so I see myself as not being like the person I'm condemning. Then it tells us that I believe that if I punish you, then I'll escape punishment. That if you are punished, I'll escape punishment. Then the book says, and all this is but the delusional attempt of your mind to deny itself and to escape the penalty of denial. In other words, it's not an attempt to relinquish denial. You're trying to hold on to denial because it is guilt that has obscured the Father to you. It is guilt that has obscured God to you. It's guilt that has obscured love to you. Wow. And it's guilt that's driven your ass insane. Woo! He said guilt has driven us crazy. He said the reason why the world is so crazy is that so many people in the world feel really guilty. Now, how do we know that there's a lot of people in the world that feel guilty? Well, let's go back. Is there any attack in the world? Yes. Is there punishment in the world? There are people that feel like they don't deserve love. Well, then the Course is saying, well, what you're looking at is an insane world run by insane people, insane thinking. You're looking at a world that's run by insane thinking. So is there anybody in here that's not clear about what that paragraph said? Let's go to the next one. Then it says, the acceptance of guilt into the mind of God's Son was the beginning of the separation. What does that mean? I'm going to take this stuff line by line. It means that the minute that you thought you were separate from love, the minute that you thought you were guilty for any reason, anytime you think you're guilty for any reason, that is the beginning of the separation from love. That's the beginning of the separation from God. Every time you feel guilty, the Course says, every time I feel guilty, it makes us feel separate from our source. And then it goes on to say, as the acceptance of the atonement is its end. So what is the end of our sense of separation from love? What is the end of our sense of separation from our power? What is the end of the sense of separation from God? The Course in Miracles says you have to accept the atonement for yourself. So what is the atonement? The Course says the atonement is the undoing of error. It is the release from guilt. So it is the acceptance of your innocence. So it's the acceptance of your innocence that's going to end all your problems. Innocence, I've heard of that. I'll say it again. It's the acceptance of your innocence that is the end of your sense of separation from love, which is God. The end of every bit of my upset is the acceptance of my innocence. And then it says, now I love this right here. This is when I first read this paragraph when I first got into the Course 34 years ago, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. Now I want you to hear this. I'm going to say this a couple of times. I want you to actually get your ego, and let's get our ego out of the way. The part of us that wants to tune out, not listen, go to sleep, go somewhere else. Let's take that part of us just for 5 friggin' minutes, put it over to the side, and I want you to hear something. I want you to ask yourself if this isn't true. Okay? It says, the world you see is a delusional system of those made mad by guilt. So the world that you're looking at is the delusional system that was created by people who are insane with guilt. Look carefully at this world, and you will realize this is so. Just look carefully. Like the Course says to me, get your head out the sand, Purdy, and look carefully, and you will see that this world is a delusional system of those made mad by guilt. Look carefully at this world. If you look carefully at this world, you will realize that this is a world that is made by a delusional system that was created by people who are insane with guilt. For this world is the symbol of punishment. This world is the symbol of punishment. What does that mean, that this world is the symbol of punishment? It means all the laws that seem to govern this world are the laws of death. All the rules of this game are the rules of death. What do you mean? See, when you read the Course in Miracles, all you got to do is just go, what does that mean? And every time you say, what does that mean? Then what you do is you go to the next sentence. Right. You don't stop and analyze it. You don't stop and go back. You don't stop and go, I'm going to read it again. No, you go forward. The Course reads as if we won't understand what it's saying. So you never have to go back. You always keep going forward when you read the Course. And you go forward whether you understood what you just read or not. Because you're going to realize one day that it wasn't that you didn't understand what you just heard. Do you know that you're going to realize one day that you just wasn't ready to accept what you heard? Right. And that's why you say you don't understand it. You say you don't understand it because you don't want to accept. If I say you, I'm talking generic you. Don't take it personal. I know it's not you. Okay? But what it's saying is, understanding is nothing but you accepting what you hear. To understand something only means you're willing to accept it. When you say you understand a person one day, what the Course is telling me is that's going to be a person that you say, I understand you, my love, is me saying, I accept you, my love. And people you don't accept, you don't understand. I don't understand you. That's the same as saying, I don't accept you. So then it goes on to say that the children are born into this world through pain and in pain. I said again, children are born into this world usually. I know a few of y'all might hear about some people being dropped in here through, water or something, but most of us came in here through pain. I doubt if your mother was saying, Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. She was going to go, bring your dad, I'm going to kill him. That's what she might have been saying. But not hardly, yay, I'm having a baby. So children are born into this world through pain, and children are born into this world in pain. Let's face it. If you're being squared through something about this big, and you've been kicking it out in your abdominal penthouse, and all of a sudden you warm, you fed, everything's taken care of, room temperature is always perfect, you got a little flat screen TV in there, you chilling out, and next thing you know, you being squeezed through something this big, shot out into a cold room with lights, and then somebody whoop you on your butt and go, welcome to the world. So just like this book says, right? That children are born into this world in pain. So what does that mean? That means as soon as I got here, I made a decision the world was painful. That's the first thing that happened when I got here. I went, whoa! This is a painful place. I wasn't doing nothing. I was kicked back, looking at my TV. And now I'm getting popped on the butt and I'm naked. And they dangling me up in front of people. That's cold. How does somebody do that right now? Grab you by your ankles and dangle you up in front of people and pop you on your butt. What kind of decision would you make about the world? And don't forget, your world is a reflection of your decisions and your beliefs and your choices. So if as a child you made the decision the world was painful, then you create a painful childhood. From the time you were born, you start creating the reflection of that idea that everything is painful. I'm just listening to what I'm saying, Earl. So you wonder why there was suffering as a child. It was a decision made at birth. How you were going to see the world. Then it goes on to say, children are born into the world through pain. Children are born into the world. When I read the course, I say what the its and thems and thises and theys are, because you get them all mixed up. Is that it? Is that it? Is that they? That they? Was that they? It over there? All it. Yeah. Right. So when I read it, I go, this world is governed. This world is the symbol of punishment, and all the laws that seem to rule this world are the laws of death. Children are born into this world through pain and in pain. The children's growth is attended by suffering. I don't know about you, but I fell a few times on my bike. Skinned my knee. Skinning my knee or something like that was like regular when I was a kid. Wasn't it for you? You just kind of got used to having some kind of scab. You didn't even think it was weird. No. You know, and then we almost like we used to bounce. I mean, it's like we fell, but we got up and kept on going. I bet I don't do that now. I remember I was walking to, I belonged to a men's group a few weeks ago, and I was walking to, getting ready to go inside the house, and I don't know how it happened, but my toe hit, I guess the sidewalk was just a little raised or something, and my toe hit it, and I fell face down so fast, I didn't even know what I always thought if you were falling, you had time to catch yourself. I don't know if any of y'all ever had a fall that was too fast to do anything about it. I didn't know they could be that fast. It tripped me out. It's like I went right on my face. It's like, and it's like, oh, crap. You know, that's what I get for being in a body. I don't know what the big deal is about the body. Why is everybody so into the body? Why is the body so important to everybody? Don't you go through the stuff that I go through in the body? You gotta feed it. You gotta clothe it. You scared to trip up in the floor. You gotta run across Colfax Avenue. Hope you don't get hit. Because you're looking out for your body. You're going to work tomorrow to take care of your body, to feed your body. The body is high maintenance. Right? Yeah. And then you got to try to make your body so that somebody else will want your body. And then you're in a world where everybody seems like they're into the body, and then your body getting older. That's a trip, y'all. I'm 64. I was 64 last week.
Happy birthday.
That was so. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, and my guilt kept me here for 64 years. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
You're still sexy. You're still sexy.
Thank you, man. Now, if I can just get a woman to say that to me. Notice women that say nothing. But take us. Okay. All right. That's right. That's right. Okay. I know who's going to be the teacher's pet now. Oh, I'm not going to go there. Okay, now, y'all don't know how some of the stuff that come to my mind to say that some people would call inappropriate. I have so many inappropriate things come to me when I'm teaching. That's you need to have your Course in Miracles Inappropriate class. And politically incorrect on the side. But we promise there'll be no gluten. So everybody come on. If there's no gluten, I'll be there. That's with that gluten stuff. Sometimes I freak them out. I go to a restaurant and say, and I want some MSG and gluten. On the side. Try doing that in the health food store or something. I would almost have a heart attack. Okay. Because we know gluten is the cause of all pain. We know that, right? We're clear about that, right? Gluten and guilt. So it's really, it's guilting instead of gluten. We're going to go guilting. I would hold it guilting. Okay? So the Course says, children are born into the world through pain and in pain. The children's growth is attended by suffering, and the children learn of sorrow. Your Uncle Dave, he passed last night. The children learn of sorrow, and then it says, and they learn of separation, and they learn of death. You know how it is when a little child's first pet dies or something, after they've crushed it. They wonder why it's dead. The worst thing that can happen to a pet is a kid. That was a guilty dog before it was even born. A dog used to come to me to die. Every time I would get a dog, it would die. It would die of something, some mysterious disease or something. It would, it's like, and none of you all are old enough to have watched some of the old Tarzan movies. But back when I was a kid, Tarzan was a big deal. And one of the Tarzan movies had this thing about the elephant's graveyard. And all the elephants had this place that they all marched to when they were getting ready to die. And they called it the elephant's graveyard in the jungle. That was me. I was the dog's elephant graveyard. They would come to me when they were ready to die. So I had to stop having pets because it was just ridiculous. I had a dog that was cool, and the dog had been in the backyard the whole time. Dogs used to be outside. And there was a dog, and he was outside for months. My little girl opened the door up, the gate up, and the dog shot out of the gate as fast as he could, ran into the street, and the car hit him. He was dead, just like that. And I was like, oh, man. So I stopped having dogs. My last dog I had was in 1989. And I have to be careful around my friends' dogs. When they say, you don't never pet my dog, be glad. We're more dogs.
So what about cats?
I am a cat. So I'm easy on cats. I'm a feline. Yes, I'm definitely a tiger.
Cool.
Yes, no doubt about it. I'm a tiger. Okay. So the Course says that their growth is attended by suffering. Children learn of sorrow and separation and death. Their minds seem to be trapped in their brains. Your mind, it looks like your mind is in your brain. The Course says that it's a trap. It looks like your mind is trapped in your brain. And not only that, it says it looks like the powers of your mind decline if your body is hurt. It looks like if your body is hurt, your powers decline. And it says children seem to love. Children are born into a world where they seem to love, but he says yet they desert and are deserted. It looks like we love and somebody desert us. It looks like we love and we desert. And it looks like sometimes we are desert. Okay, those are the better days. Okay, now he says the children appear to lose what they love, perhaps the most insane belief of all. So what does the Course in Miracles say the most insane belief of all is? That you could lose something that you love. You can never lose something that you love. You can never lose something that you love. You can never lose someone that you truly love. You can never lose someone that you truly love. You can never lose someone that you truly love. You can never lose someone that you truly love. You can never lose what you love. You can never lose what you love. Perhaps the most insane belief of all. And he says what? Your bodies wither. I like that. Instead of saying our bodies grow old and wrinkle, the Course says our bodies wither. Wither. Do you have a withering body? So last time you looked in the mirror, was your body withering? And we can tell who see a couple of withers they didn't see. Yes, me too, y'all. That's right. I get out of the bathtub and I have my back to the mirror. Because I got a cute backside. And then I turn around and people go, ah! So some people think they're supposed to come to a spiritual class and be serious. So they don't like to come back to my class because they're already to be depressed as they usually are. But then I'm just going to continue my depression at this class. So don't be cheerful. Okay, don't be showing me how I could be if I change my mind. Because I would think it's your fault. Yeah, if you change, that'd be happy. It's your fault. Of course, are you saying that if you blaming somebody just by being miserable? He said you were walking around, picture of blame, when you walk around miserable all the time. You say to the world, look at what you did to me. Look at what you did to me. How do I know I'm blaming you? Because I'm looking at you as if somehow or another being around you doesn't bring me no joy. Think of the Course in Miracles. That's why I understand. I'm always shocked when people come back to this class. I'm shocked when anybody studied the Course in Miracles at all, because I tell people, don't not mess around with the Course in Miracles if you want to think you're nice.
Yeah.
Because you'll find out you're not nice at all. All of a sudden you see why all the people in your world is crazy. Because you are. And it's disappointing. You know, when you've been counting on you've been okay and everybody else was the problem, and you find out you're the one that's the nut, it's not easy to take. But you're a cute one. As long as you're cute, you'll be all right in the world. You know that, right? So just don't talk and you'll always have a date. That's why people say, well, he don't talk that much. He want another date. You know, if he talk, he ain't got a shot. He gonna get nothing. Because first he wants some. Okay. Then we get to know him. People look at me like, he didn't say that. I know he didn't say he did. He just wanted some. I know he didn't say that. Spiritual teachers don't say that. They don't talk like regular people. But I am. I'm going to talk like regular people to adults. And sometimes men walk up ladies and they just want to get some. Okay? Do y'all aware of that?
Oh yeah.
Are you ever, did you kind of assume that when they kind of walk up, like that's the first thing? Like, please, don't act like I don't know. Unless you're too spiritual to remember now. Sometimes when you teach spiritual people, they go, what? Get water. Get some water. You're too spiritual. Okay. I'm not. I got into the course because I was a sex addict. If you want to make sure you don't get none, study the course. How you going to have sex with people trying to learn they're not bodies? There's a lack of motivation. No, I wasn't really a sex addict. I heard of them. And they say you can only track like. So I know about all of y'all. I know about everybody in here. This is a meeting. God, I tell you. They're going to ban me from the internet. So he says, and then our bodies wither, and then we gasp, and then we're laid in the ground. And are no more. And that's what we learn? I mean, he covered it in less than a paragraph. Everything. Then he says, not one of them or us, but has thought that God is cruel. I know when a kid, when I was a kid, I thought God was cruel. That if there was a God, I thought he was a psycho. But I was scared to say it because I was too religiously brought up. You know, but I would like look at it, if there is either this is crazy or there is no God. Because if there's a God, this shouldn't be reality. Right? And so I did think God was cruel. My best friend lost his mother during childbirth of his younger brother. And he was like 12. I was traumatized by that because I was a mama's boy. And the idea of my mama being dead traumatized me. I never forget that. Just everything, that's what I like about the Course in Miracles. It just takes all the rose-colored glasses away so that you can finally see what you're dealing with so you can get motivated to change your mind. Right. But that's what I don't like about the Course, because so much of my happiness is based on denial. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, have you ever been in a relationship that you knew wasn't the right relationship for you, but you were in denial about it, and you didn't want nobody to tell you the truth because you wanted to keep the delusion? Even though you were hurting, which was your way of knowing it was a delusion? And so the Course in Miracles just goes, rip! I'm going to take all your rose-colored glasses off so that y'all can see where you are so you can go where you want to be. Because I can't take you to where you want to be until you see where you are. And then where you are is you're in a place that children look like they're going in pain and through pain. Where y'all learn of suffering and sorrow and separation and death. It looks like you're inside a brain. And it also looks like your powers decline and your body is hurt. It looks like you love folk and then they desert you. It looks like you love folk and you're the one that's trying to get away. It looks like you lose what you love. He says that's the craziest belief you can come up with, is that you could lose what you love. And then the Course says, then your bodies get old and you're laid in the ground and buried and no more. He said anything that would have created you just to go through that would have to be a sadist. So let's just be with that a minute. Then it goes on to say, if this were the real world, God would be cruel. If this was all we had, God would be cruel. He says, because no father or creator, I'm going to make it easy to hear it, for no creator could subject its children to this as the price of happiness, which is salvation, and be loving. Nobody that loved you will put you in a place where you could seem to lose what you love and say that they love you. The Course in Miracles is just being straight up with us. No creator would subject its creation to this as the price of salvation and be loving. Love doesn't kill to save. You don't have to die to go to heaven. You don't have to die to go to happiness. You don't love. God is going to kill us to save us. Amen. And then it goes on to tell us, because if love did kill to save, then we would believe that killing an attack would be salvation. And that's the fearful mind's interpretation, not God's. So if you're dealing with a fearful mind thinks that you're going to have peace through killing. A guilty mind believes that you're going to have peace through killing. When we kill all of the Taliban, we'll be happy. You hear that? Yeah. What do we think war comes from? It's the idea that killing is salvation. That killing is going to bring us peace. Is this straight up or what? Yeah. Do y'all understand why the Course in Miracles isn't that popular? Everybody understand that now a little bit better. Because I want to hear how I can have $1 million. I'm here to figure I can find my soulmate. This is job I've been looking out for, man. You're supposed to be telling me how I can manifest. You're not supposed to be telling me that this would be an insane God that would create a world where you can lose what you love and it looks like you die and that you can lose the people that you love. Is this an insane world to be in a world where people think killing is what's going to save them? Then it goes on to tell us even more that only the world of guilt could demand this, because only the guilty could conceive of a world like this. And Adam's so-called sin could have touched no one had Adam not believed that it was the Creator who drove him out of paradise. Because anybody that believes that their Creator would drive them out of paradise, whenever I see that, I always see God in a convertible. Yep. And Adam in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to drive you right out of paradise, buddy. You ate that apple. Come on, get in the back seat. You know. So let's hear that. You would have to not know your Creator to believe that your Creator would ever take you out of happiness. And we are told, for in that belief that God could drive him out of paradise, that's when the knowledge of God was lost, since only those who don't understand God could even believe that the God. So, okay, where I say God, you could say love. Only those who don't understand love could think that love would take them out of paradise, that love would take them out of happiness. How do we know we don't have the correct perception of love? Because there's a part of many people that's afraid of it. When someone tells you they love you, I don't know about you, but when someone tells me they love me, sometimes it frightens me. It just straight up frightens me. You know why? Because all the pain I've ever experienced has been through somebody who said they love me. 99%. And if you'll be honest with yourself, you will say the same thing when it comes to relationships. That most of your hurt did not come from total strangers. They came from the people who told you they loved you. Or you wanted to love you. So no wonder when somebody says, I love you to us, we go, oh, Lord. We were having a wonderful time. I was being objectified, enjoying it. I could just hear the script unroll, like a big old carpet. I love you. Big old long script. You gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this. No, then don't forget the other list. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. You got 2 of them. But I love you. Don't forget, I really love you. In return, this is what you're gonna get. Me. Insane me. Not only insane me, but who has dysfunctional love. I don't even know how to love. I'm making you work so hard for it. I love it when somebody tell me anything about what they want to do with me. I just want you to be honest. What you do if you want to always find out exactly what somebody wants to do with you is say, you can do anything you want to with me. Then you'll find out what they want to do. Because you didn't put any limits on them. Now this is not advice. Don't mistake what I'm saying for advice. I'm just presenting a premise, a point of view, a theoretical thing, but it's absolutely true. If you give total freedom to anyone, you find out immediately what they want to do with you. And that doesn't mean you're going to do it, but at least you'll know what they want to do. So I'm not saying because you say I give you total freedom that you're going to let them do whatever they want to do. But what you want to do is when you do say that and you really mean it, try to say it to somebody you really mean, but then see what they do. Because that's what they want to do with you, because you told them what they could do. So they said, well, let's go to the library, get you a library card. Because that's all they want to do with you. Your imagination, and you might have told you that they wanted to do more with you. So you want to find out where the person is really coming from by freeing each other. I want to know. I don't know about you. I want to know. Don't you want to know? Oh, you don't?
Yes.
Well, then you should be quite satisfied with your present state. We ought to be thrilled an hour not knowing this. Right? So, in the Course in Miracles is powerful. Yeah, it's some powerful stuff. I want to acknowledge you all for lasting 35 minutes. Y'all freaking spiritual giants in here. 35 minutes of the Course, yeah, y'all bad. Really, really bad. Bad. Really, really bad. Y'all are. 35 minutes. Y'all couldn't look. Did you hear it? You hear me? You would have to not understand the Creator to believe that the Creator would ever drive you out of love. Then he tells me, this is another one. It says, this world is a picture of your crucifixion. This world is a picture of what you're doing to yourself. This world is a picture of what you are doing to yourself. And until you realize you can't be crucified, you can't be attacked, you can't be hurt, this is the world you're going to see. You're going to see this world until you realize that you are powerful. You're going to see this world of fear until you realize you are loved and lovable. So as long as you don't love yourself, you'll be in a world that looks like people get hurt and punished in. That's where the world of pain came from. Now we understand where the world came from. The world came from a mind that sees itself as guilty and therefore condemns everything around it because it thinks it's unworthy and is calling for attack upon itself and believes that that which created it doesn't want it to be happy and would even do things to hurt it. When you think that way, that God punishes, that we're guilty, it produces a world that is the one we see on the news. It's created by minds that are guilty and insane and think they're separate from their Creator. When people think they're separate from their Creator and love, the Course in Miracles says, this world of fear is the one you see. So you won't accept that you do not deserve to be crucified and attacked until you accept the eternal fact, the constant fact, the permanent fact that you are not guilty. So you're going to continue to see the world of lack, pain, fear, punishment, sickness, illness, flu, until you accept that you're innocent. So that's the most important idea to work with. Not how to get my boyfriend to love me, not how to get my girlfriend to love me, not how I can make more money, not how I can lose weight, not how I can find a new job. The most important thing to work on is your sinlessness, your guiltlessness, and your innocence, and doing everything possible to get rid of every thought of guilt in your mind. Because all pain comes from unconscious guilt. And people say, well, I don't feel guilty. Do you see it anywhere? Yes, I see it. My cousin, he's guilty. Then you got guilt in your mind. Because when it's no longer in your mind, it will no longer be in your perception. As long as you can see it, it's in your mind. Even if it looks like it's somebody else that you see as guilty. But the same is true of innocence. If you see innocence anywhere, if you see anybody worth love anywhere, if you see beauty anywhere, if you see abundance anywhere, it's in your mind. Bill Gates is in your mind. Well, then how come I'm not hanging out with Bill Gates kind of money? Well, you're not siding with that idea of abundance. You're siding with the idea of lack. But both are in your mind. Let's do that again. I'm seeing a lot of people sitting around. Yeah, some people say, I'm going to get you out of the class. And you in the alley. Right? I'm going to tell you something. I want you to hear this, and you don't have to believe it. You deserve only love. You only deserve love. You only deserve love. And this is the part I thought was a lie when I first read it. He says, because the child of God is given only love, he deserves only love. My ego says to me, wait a minute, I haven't given only love. I haven't given only love. Have you all given only love? Have you all given only love? Okay, well then that explains why it doesn't look like you receive only love. In case you're wondering where those people come from. They're the gap. See that gap you got? See, that's a gap. Whenever I'm not giving love, that's a gap. It's called fear. So when I'm not loving, then I'm fearing. And that fear is what becomes the people who don't seem to love me. They came from the gap in my own consistency in being loving. Does it make sense to everybody? You have to keep asking because the Course in Miracles says it's such simple concepts that they'd be hard for us to understand. He literally says that. Simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds. I thought I had been insulted when I read this. So wait a minute. Simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds. Y'all don't see the joke in that? Simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds. So the more twisted your mind is, the more difficult it is to understand simple concepts that work. And this is so simple that I used to go, why am I saying I don't understand what the Course in Miracles is saying? This is as simple as anything can be. I think I'm guilty, so I punish myself. I don't know who God is if I think God would punish. I'm crucifying myself because I think I'm guilty. When I stop believing I'm guilty, I'll stop attracting pain. Yes, but. No buts. And I know, because I know you be ready with that yes but sometimes, and I don't stop and say questions, you got to explode. Because the mind is analyzing now. Analyzing. And what is being told is, here's something else it says. You cannot be condemned because you have never condemned. And the atonement, which is the acceptance of your innocence, is the final lesson you need to learn. Because the atonement, which is the acceptance of your innocence, teaches you that never having sinned, you have no need to be saved. Ooh, now that old Southern Baptist in me is like going crazy right now. Let me go on to the next paragraph. I'm being protected from that bolt of lightning that's coming to get me. Some of y'all felt it, didn't you? Yeah. The good old time religious fear about no sin. And Catholics, they really got the sin thing down. That's why they had like a bunch of different kind of sins. At least in the Baptists, it's just basically one sin, maybe two. But y'all got penal and renal and all kind of sins, don't you? Kaleidoscope of sin. You know, then some of my Jewish friends say, well, you know, we don't believe in the Bible kind of thing, but yeah, guilt. We're talking about guilt. Don't tell me you don't have no guilt. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? In the Course in Miracles, it's just telling us your only enemy is it's a thought of guilt in your mind that you were instilled with and learned. Whew. Okay, let me stop right here and throw it open for questions or comments. Yes.
Well, I find it so funny that like it's the opposite of like what the world thinks, because like I grew up believing that guilt was something that showed that you had a conscience. So if you felt guilty, it meant you had a conscience. And like the world's thinking is that like serial killers and people like that, they don't have any guilt because they don't have any guilt because that's what. Right,
somebody that kills 70 people don't have no guilt. This is great. Think about what people say. The serial killer doesn't, and you're right. That is the way to, because how can you keep a thought system going? What's the easiest way to keep a thought system going? It's to make the people use the thought system thinking it's the right thing to do. Right? So we think a good person feels guilty and a bad person is a person that doesn't feel guilty, right? But we're looking at the world as the result of the belief in feeling guilty. So we already know what kind of world the idea that you're guilty produces. It produces a world that we're in now that there seems to be a lot of fear broken into by periods it looks like people have a good time. The Course in Miracles is saying in the real world, there is no pain. There is no fear. There is no attack. There is no sickness. There is no lack. This book is saying there is a world like that. You don't have to die to know it. But you do have to change your mind. But I identify with my mind. So it sounds like it's saying get rid of me. Because when I first read this book, and it was talking about the characteristics of the ego, I always identified more with what it said about the ego than what it said about the spirit. I thought, well, the ego is me. If I get rid of the ego, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all who read it know what I'm talking about. You'll go, wow, everything it says the ego does, that's me. The mind that feels guilty and condemns, yet I'm supposed to get rid of that? That's getting rid of me. The mind that's afraid and doesn't know how to really love, we got to let that go. That sounds like getting rid of me. So we are suffering from a tremendous error in identification. We're making a mistake about who we are. If this is true, I'm not who I think I am. And you aren't either. But you are who you think you are. To you. But it might not be you. So what is my job? My job is to see you as you really are, even if you don't. My job is to see you as loving and lovable, like it says, that you deserve only love, that you can't be condemned, that you're innocent. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to see that in your ego, because your ego is your personality that's learned a lot of warped stuff that doesn't really know how to be loving all the time. So it's not asking us to love each other's ego. People think when books like this are saying you need to love each other, they think it's asking you to love all of the crazy stuff that we do and the crazy ways we act. It's not asking us to do that. It's asking us to remember who we really are behind the insane beliefs that we've learned from this world. So you're innocent and you only deserve love. You're innocent and you only deserve love. You're innocent and you only deserve love. Now, do you have to let go of the blocks to keep you from being aware of that? Yes, that's what's called the spiritual path. It's learning how to let go of all the thoughts you have in your mind to the contrary to make you think you're not this innocent, powerful, beautiful being that you heard me say you are. So if I say to you that you're loved and you're lovable and you deserve to be loved and nothing about that resonates within you, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make it any less true. Because who you are is not determined by you, because you didn't create yourself. Now you can critique a cake you baked because you made it. But you can't critique you because you didn't. Only that which created you can judge you. Just like you can only judge the cake you made. The challenge is this. That which created you sees you as loving and lovable and innocent and deserving to have only joy. You don't. You're holding things up. You're holding things up. We have lots of wonderful plans for your challenge. I am Palakaka Man, and I'm going to channel to you all on infinity. You only deserve love, period. You don't think you do because of what you learned and experienced in the past. You believing you're guilty is blocking your miracles. You're holding your happiness up, not your brothers and sisters, not your creator, not your past. You are holding your joy hostage. It wants to get to you. It's like being held back by a dam. There's a dam that's about to burst, that's full of everything you've ever wanted in your life if you just put some attention into letting go of any thoughts of guilt and unworthiness that you have about yourself. Okay, I'm back.
That's my favorite lesson.
I love you. Would you acknowledge yourself for handling it this much? Come on now. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Woo. Woo. Now, you know this was right here in the book. And you know you can get the book. You don't need me to get this. It's here. All right. Okay. All right. I'd rather read People magazine. Thank you for sharing with me as a full-time teacher this stuff. I appreciate your generosity, and I deserve it. Whoa! I love A Course in Miracles. Those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, where we take whatever's going on in your life and we apply these principles to it, and I show you how to apply these principles to it, and also share from the perspective of astrology and numerology, which is just another way for the universe to give us a message. So go to my website, it explains it in detail. Go to my website and sign up for my contact list so you can get a link to the videos that I make of these classes delivered directly to your mailbox, your email box. And if you're here and you haven't done that, please come up front after the class and sign up with your email. Then you get a link, because when we leave here, we go into what the Course calls the sleep of forgetfulness. And we literally forget most of everything we just heard, because we go back to our regular mind. And it'll seem like you were never here. Most of the people that come to my class don't remember they ever came. It's hard to build attendance like that. So there's going to be one last thought from the Holy Spirit, a message directly for this class, just for us. Okay? Pick it. Just open it anywhere. I see only the past. This class, you see only the past. And I know this idea is particularly difficult to believe at first. Yet it's the rationale for all our preceding ideas. I'll say it again. You only see the past. You only see the past. You only see the past learning. Put learning at the end of it. That's what you must do to make it really make sense. I only see what? My past learning. So it's telling us that the only thing you're seeing right now is the way you learn to see it. The only thing you're seeing right now is what you've only learned to see, how you've learned to see. How do you know if what you've learned is not true?
Makes you feel bad.
It makes you feel bad. It creates fear, lack, attack, sickness, unhappiness. So if you're feeling any of those things, whatever you learned in the past was not true. Then it says that's the reason why nothing you see means anything, because you just see in the past. It's the reason why you give it everything you see all the meaning that it has for you. It's because you just see the past. It's the reason why you don't understand anything you see. You don't understand anything you see because all you're seeing is your own past learning. It's the reason why your thoughts don't mean anything. Your thoughts don't mean anything because you're just seeing what you learned in the past. And that's why they're like the things you're looking at. That you see only the past is the reason why you're never upset for the reason you think. You're never upset for the reason you think. You are never upset for the reason you think. You are never upset for the reason you think. You are never upset for the reason you think. Why? Because you're just seeing your past learning. That's what you're upset about. You're upset because you learned to be upset. not the thing that's upsetting you. You're never upset for the reason you think. You're never angry for the reason you think. You're never depressed for the reason you think. You're never broke for the reason you think. You're never afraid for the reason you think. You're never in conflict for the reason you think. Whatever the reason you think it is that you're upset about somebody right now, that's not what you're really upset about. You're never upset for the reason you think. Try that the next time you get upset. Go, I'm never upset for the reason I think. And you're going to immediately feel some peace. Immediately. As soon as you say that, you're going to feel peace. Even if it's just for a second. Try. Think of something you're upset about right now, and then go, I'm never upset for the reason I think. And watch what happens. You always get a, whew, you picked a good one. It's the reason why you're upset, because you're seeing something that's not there. You're upset because you're seeing something that's not really there. You're just seeing your past learning, which is not really there. I can see people, okay, this is it, this is the big one, you know. Did y'all go to Earl Purdy's class and see heads explode? Y'all heard about that? Okay. I see only the past. 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 Now this last one here, I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. See y'all. Tuesday at 7 o'clock is the Way of Mastery at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. It's an awesome, powerful class. And there's an announcement that Keith wants to make right quick. I love y'all